No, thank you very much to the moderators of this debate, and want to greet the Student Representative Council, which is led by the EFF Students Command here in the University of Fort Hare. It's part of the more than 90% students representative councils in South Africa, which are led by the Student Command, but also want to, of course, pay tribute to University of Fort Hare, which has got the most outstanding alumni. Want to specifically outline and mention Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe, Chris Hani, and Gavin Mbeki. Those are the people who got proper degrees from this university. They never went to a counter and they never required service of a cashier to get a degree. And thanks, Professor Buhlungu, for protecting this institution, because it's one of the most important things. We must never allow a situation where anyone purchases degrees from this institution, like the premier of this province tried to do. Now, the main focus of the EFF manifesto is one, on land, because our people are landless, is jobs, is stopping load shedding. But more importantly, is the ability to dynamically utilize South Africa's fiscal resources, like the budget, to drive industrial expansion and economic development and infrastructure in a way that is going to create millions of jobs for our people. But at the center of that, will be building state capacity such that the state is able to perform its own functions and not be a contracting and tendering state, because thus far, a tendering state has led to high levels of corruption, but also even political killings, including the one that occurred in this university. So that is the agenda that the Economic Freedom Fighters is up to in terms of what we stand for. And we are ready to take over the government of South Africa to give it the meaning that it requires.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are here on the eve of our 7th democratic election to debate the state of the country and the province. And this debate is about an evaluation of the performance of the government. Our eyes are on the government, represented by Mr. Tau. The ultimate test of a healthy democracy is whether you have a change in government frequently. We need a change in government in this country. The last time I was in this hallowed hall was in 2016 at the special national memorial service of the late Premier Makhenkesi Stofile. I attended my capacity as the mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay. Bakhona abantu out of Baby City. Akasoza bekhona umeya we-DA eBhayi. Ebekhona. The hall was full of ANC luminaries. Cyril Ramaphosa was here. Kgalema Motlanthe was here. Jacob Zuma wasn't here on the insistence of the family. Sipho Pityana spoke at that memorial service, and he spoke boldly and he spoke openly about the problems in the ANC and their woeful track record of governance. He told of Stofile's, and I quote, yearning for the movement to get back to its former glory, unquote. He invoked the title of a book written by a former ANC leader, Dr. Benson Khubusane, Zemkinkomo Makwalandini. He spoke about the ANC allowing its heritage to be stolen and lost. And he said, you say that you're against corruption, but you steal people's money. He said that the ANC should introspect and save itself and avoid self-inflicted wounds. His words were prophetic. Sadly for you as the ANC government and the ANC, his exhortations fell on deaf ears. Our government has developed a tin ear. Thank you
very much. And good evening to you all. While we may appreciate the gains we have made over the past 30 years since the inception of our democracy, we unfortunately cannot turn a blind eye on the current realities that millions of South Africans are facing. The coming elections provide a moment of great significance for all of us. It's a chance to reverse the damage done over the past years. The fabric of our society is strained by the weight of poverty, hunger, and inequalities, and this has hedged the deep divide between those who have and those who have not. Our people's dignity is under assault as necessities like clean water and sanitation remains out of reach for too many. The infrastructure that should be the backbone of our society is crumbling, a testament to the service delivery failures plague our communities. We are confronted by the scourge of crime, gender-based violence. Our women and young girls walk in the shadow of fear, a damning indictment to our collective failure to protect the most vulnerable in our society. These are not challenges I'm mentioning. It serves as a clarion call for all South Africans to no longer accept the status quo, but to go out and vote. The IFP stands ready to lead this country, and we stand ready to serve you. We're not just asking for your vote, but we ask you to join the cause, to fight for South Africa where everyone can succeed, no matter where it comes from. A South Africa where safety, education, health are not just for the wealthy, but for everyone else. This is not about politics. It's about taking back our country. It's about making sure that our children and their children inherit a country that is better than what it is today. So trust us to save you.
Thank you very much.
Just wait.
Thank you very much to our facilitators. The agenda of the African National Congress has been about fundamental socio-economic transformation and remains about fundamental socio-economic transformation. And we've got a track record on fundamental socio-economic transformation. On the economic front, we can say that in 1994, 8 million people were in jobs. Today, 16.2 million people are in jobs. We can say that this is a government that has driven an agenda of transformation in the economy. We've got at the level of preferential procurement, direct procurement from Black-owned companies, from women-owned companies. We've got at the level of policy, broad-based Black economic empowerment that has ensured that Black people are able to access opportunities in the private sector, in the public sector, and that we measure companies on the basis of that delivery. We've got at the level of employment equity, the reality that many Black people hold senior management positions in the public sector, in the private sector. We've got bankers who are CEOs, we've got miners who are CEOs as a result of the policies of the African National Congress. Now, what are we saying going forward? What we're saying going forward is that we need to accelerate this agenda of fundamental socio-economic transformation. Our commitment in our manifesto is that we will create, through direct job creation initiatives, 2.2 million jobs. We have said that as the ANC, we will focus on industrialization and reindustrialization. We will ensure that new industries are able to grow at the back of our mineral wealth and the wealth that we own as a country, so that we're able to create more jobs and more entrepreneurs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Molweni, it feels good to be home today. It feels good to be back in my home province. Having grown up here for 18 years, this institution was always inspirational. In fact, the majority of my family members have been graduates of this university. And so I give you honor, Prof. Buhlungu and the team for keeping this institution going. And so as we gather here 30 years into our democracy, we must make sure that we really do evaluate where we are as a country. And we must be honest about where we are. Today, 30 million South Africans are living in poverty. 7 out of 10 young people do not have work. In fact, the hunger and the unemployment crisis is so dire in the Eastern Cape that half of this province does not work. Abantu abatsha bahlala ezindlini komawabo befumbathe izidanga bengakwazi ufumana imisebenzi. And millions of children in this province are dying of starvation. And so we need change, and we need change urgently. The ANC has had its run. It's about time that we show up in our numbers and vote out a government that does not care. And so the choice is simple. The choice is simple in this election. We can either continue voting for a government that has failed and will continue to fail us, Or we can vote for a government that will pull people out of poverty, that will put young people into work, that will keep our communities safe, that will keep the lights on, that will keep your taps running of water, that will cut the kind of corruption that is seeing the kind of cutting of funding that you are experiencing with NSFAS. And that organization is not only represented here, but it represented in all 9 parts of the country. And that's the Democratic Alliance.
Thank you so much.